Thank you for joining us for Lavender Libros story time. My name is Danette, and I work with the ABC Community School Partnership, and we work to transform schools into places where students, families, and communities can all learn and grow together. And I have a friend here with me who's going to help me read the book that we've chosen today, and she's going to introduce herself.
My name is Dewey. I'm in 4th grade, and I like Dr. Seuss because he has a great imagination and he can turn things that are simple, like just a normal animal, and make it into a really nice piece of artwork that no one else would have thought of.
Kind of like the one we have on the screen right now, right? Horton's pretty amazing. So we're going to get started. Horton, here's a who. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the Elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, he thought. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton. But who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, Horton murmured, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that was able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone atop of that small speck of dust. Some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow off the pool and has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because, after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So gently, using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted that dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very small clover. Ha! Huffed a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me too.
Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that? Why, there never has been. Believe me, Horton said, I'll tell you sincerely. My ears are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there. And what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4. Quite likely a family, for all that we know, a family with children just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me too.
And the kangaroo plunged in the cool of the pool with a terrible splashing. The elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. So they plucked up the clover and hustled away. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to Dust Speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked, worrying, almost an hour. Should I put the speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't after all. A person's a person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could barely hear it. "Speak up, please," said Horton. He put his ear near it.
"My friend," came the voice, "you're a very fine friend. You've helped us folks on the dustback no end. You've saved our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved our churches and grocery stores."
"You mean?" Horton gasped. "You have buildings then too?"
"Oh yes," piped the voice, "we most certainly do." "I know," called the voice, "I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us they are big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos all are thankful for you and
And
grateful to
Horton, and Horton called back to the mayor of the town, "You're safe now, don't worry, I won't let you down." But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, "What rot! This elephant's talking to who's who are not. There aren't any who's, and they don't have a mayor, and we're going to stop all this nonsense, so there." They snatched Horton's clover and they carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vladikoff, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing, and they said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the poor elephant even could speak, that eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. And all that late afternoon and far into the night, the black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm my little folks, who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do." By far, far beyond him, the eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly through the night. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it." At 6:56 in the morning he did it. It was sure a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Fine that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail," and he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail. "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust." And clover by clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then, on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3,000,000th flower. "My friends," cried Horton, "tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor.
"We've really had trouble, much more than our share. When that black-bottomed birdie let us go and we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires have all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded that voice of the mayor's, "will you stick by us Who's while we're making repairs?"
Of course, answered Horton, of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick. Humped a voice. For almost 2 days, you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who never existed. Such carryings on in our peaceable jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle. We've had quite, and I'm here to state, snapped the big kangaroo, that your silly nonsense game is all through. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me too.
with the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I have engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, ha, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezelnut oil. Boil it, gasped Horton. Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you. Mr. Mayor, Horton called. Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove that you are really there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout. Make every who scream, and if you don't, every who is going to end up in the bezelnut stew. And down on the dust speck, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville town square. And his people cried loudly, they cried out in fear,
We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here.
The elephant smiled. It was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well. All I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze and the faint sound of the wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me neither.
Grab him, they shouted, and cage that big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the bezelnut juice. Horton fought back with great vigor and vim, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him to his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person's a person no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourselves heard, so come on now and try. The mayor grabbed the tom-tom and he started to smack it. And all over Whoville, they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles, they beat brass pans on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew in bazookas and blasted great toots on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of sound, loud racket rang through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling and mad hullabaloo.
Hey Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through?
And Horton called back, I hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing, and you're sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is anyone shirking? Through the town the mayor rushed from east to west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost gave up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker. quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo. Not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside and grabbed that young twerp. And he climbed up with the lad to the Eiffelberg Tower.
This, cried the mayor, is their town's darkest hour. The time for all who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country, he said. We've got to make noises in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts.
Thus he spoke as he climbed, and when they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and he shouted, "Yop!" And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Their voices were heard. They rang out clean and clear and clean. And the elephant smiled. Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all. How true! Yes, how true, said the big kangaroo. And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me too.
From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them, no matter how smallish. I just love that story. How about you, Suvi?
Yeah, I like it too. It's one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books.
What do you think? What is the message do you think Dr. Seuss is trying to tell us all with this book?
I think the message is that no matter how small we are, we still make a big difference, and we all need to work together to be heard.
Absolutely.
Especially when people aren't listening.
Especially when people aren't listening, right? And that we can't give up, and that we have to find everyone's voice and bring it forward. And those of us who are big and those of us who have the ability need to make sure we support and protect those folks and make sure they're heard, right? So we hope that you enjoyed our Lavender Libros story time. And from Suvi and I, we hope that you have a great rest of your day and join us at the next Lavender Libros coming soon. Thank you. Bye.